Hello students. Today we'll discuss the mechanism of breathing. Mechanism of breathing is divided into two parts, two processes, inspiration and expiration. Inspiration is the process during which atmospheric air is drawn in. During inspiration, atmospheric air is drawn in, and during expiration, alveolar air is released out. So when the air is drawn in, then it is known as inspiration. The movement of air into and out of the lungs is carried out by creating a pressure gradient between the lungs and the atmosphere. So the movement of the air into and out of the lungs is carried out by creating a pressure gradient. If the pressure inside the lungs is less, then the air is drawn in. And if the pressure inside the lungs is higher than the atmospheric pressure, then the air is thrown out or released out. So the movement of air into and out of the lungs is carried out by creating a pressure gradient between the lungs and the atmosphere. First, we'll discuss inspiration. During inspiration, the pressure inside the lungs is very less as compared to atmospheric pressure. So, to lower the pressure inside the lungs, the volume of the lungs or thoracic cavity has to be increased. Inspiration occurs if the pressure within the lungs, that is intrapulmonary pressure, is less than the atmospheric pressure. So inspiration occurs when the pressure inside the lungs is less than the atmospheric pressure. That is, there is a negative pressure in the lungs with respect to atmospheric pressure. Pressure inside the lungs is less as compared to atmospheric pressure, or there is a negative pressure inside the lungs as compared to atmospheric pressure. This negative pressure is created by increasing the volume of the lungs or by increasing the volume of the thoracic cavity. So, how it happens? Children, the muscles of the diaphragm are known as phrenic muscles. The muscles of the diaphragm are known as phrenic muscles. These phrenic muscles contract and pull the diaphragm downwards or pushes the diaphragm towards the abdomen. So the muscles of the phrenic diaphragm or phrenic muscles contract and pulls the diaphragm towards the abdomen. Therefore, the volume of the thoracic cavity increases anterior-posteriorly. See, like this. When the diaphragm is pulled downwards, the volume of the thoracic cavity increases anterior-posteriorly. This is anterior end and this is posterior end. Now, the muscles between the rib cage are known as intercostal muscles. Muscles present between the rib cage are known as intercostal muscles. There are two sets of intercostal muscles, external intercostal and internal intercostal. In inspiration, external intercostal muscles contract. External intercostal muscles contract and they pull the rib cage outward and upward. They pull the rib cage outward and upward and increases the volume of thoracic cavity dorsoventrally, like this. So when the rib cage is pulled outward and upward, the volume of the thoracic cavity increases dorsoventrally, and when diaphragm muscles contract, volume of thoracic cavity increases anterior-posteriorly. So total volume of the thoracic cavity increases and pressure decreases. So the air is drawn in. This type of breathing is known as negative pressure breathing. In inspiration, both intercostal muscle, external intercostal muscles and diaphragm muscles contract. Therefore, it is an active process. Inspiration is an active process. Diaphragm or phrenic muscles contract and move downwards, which increases the volume of thoracic chamber in the anterior-posterior axis. So diaphragm or phrenic muscles contract and move downwards, which increases the volume of thoracic chamber in anterior-posterior axis. External intercostal muscles contract, which lifts up the ribs and sternum, causing an increase in the volume of thoracic cavity in dorsoventral axis. The overall increase in the thoracic volume causes a similar increase in pulmonary volume. The overall increase in the thoracic volume causes the similar increase in pulmonary volume. An increase in pulmonary volume decreases the intrapulmonary pressure. Means when the volume in the lungs increases, the pressure decreases. The intrapulmonary pressure to less than atmospheric pressure, which forces the air from outside to move into the lungs. That is inspiration. So children, what I have told you, in inspiration, diaphragm muscles or phrenic muscles contract. They will pull diaphragm towards the abdomen. Therefore, the volume of the thoracic cavity increases anterior-posteriorly. The external intercostal muscles also contract and they pull the rib cage upward and outwards. Therefore, the volume of thoracic cavity increases dorso-ventrally. The volume of the thoracic cavity increases and the pressure decreases. Then the atmospheric pressure. Therefore, the air is drawn in. The muscles of diaphragm and external intercostal muscles are therefore called the inspiratory muscles because they help in inspiration. Path of the air during inspiration is external nares to nasal chambers to internal nares, then pharynx, larynx, glottis, trachea, primary bronchus, bronchioles, alveolar ducts, and then alveoli. So this is the path of the air followed in the respiratory tract. So inspiration is an active process. It generally takes 2 seconds. Now the air which is taken in is also conditioned and filtered. So now we will discuss conditioning and filtering of the air. First is moisturing. Mucus secreted by mucus glands keeps the internal lining of the nasal chambers moist. Mucus does not allow dust particles to enter the respiratory tract. Mucus is antiseptic. It kills the bacteria of the air. Blood vessels of the nasal chamber radiate heat like hot water pipes and warm the air passing through the nasal chambers. So these 4 steps are the which help in conditioning and filtering of the air. First was moisturing, second is cleaning, third is sterilization, and fourth is warming. Next step is expiration, that is to exhale air. Now what happens in expiration? In inspiration, the total volume of the thoracic cavity increases. Now the volume will decrease. In expiration, the volume of the thoracic cavity will decrease. Now the diaphragm muscles or phrenic muscles will relax and diaphragm will come to its original position. External intercostal muscles will also relax and the rib cage will come to its original position. The overall volume of the thoracic cavity decreases, but the pressure inside the lungs increases than the atmospheric pressure. Therefore, the inhaled air is thrown out. So, expiration is a passive process because in this no contraction takes place, only relaxation is there. Relaxation of diaphragm and the intercostal muscles relax, which returns the diaphragm and sternum to their normal position and reduce the thoracic volume and thereby the pulmonary volume. This leads to an increase in intrapulmonary pressure to slightly above the atmospheric pressure, causing the expulsion of air from the lungs, that is expiration. So during expiration, diaphragm muscles and intercostal muscles are relaxed. Diaphragm and rib cage are brought again to the normal position. Volume of the thoracic cavity and pulmonary volume decreases, pressure increases and air is released out. Humans have the ability to increase the strength of inspiration and expiration with the help of abdominal muscles. So we can increase our strength of inspiration and expiration by using the abdominal muscles. During inspiration, abdominal muscles relax and allow compression of abdominal organs by diaphragm. During expiration, contraction of abdominal muscle compresses the abdomen and pushes its content towards the diaphragm. So during expiration, abdominal muscles contract and during inspiration, abdominal muscles relax. The internal intercostal muscles and abdominal muscles are called expiratory muscles because they contract during expiration. At rest, a healthy human breathes 12 to 16 times per minute. Spirometer. It is an instrument which helps to estimate the volume of air involved in breathing movement. Spirometer helps to estimate the volume of air involved in breathing movement. It cannot measure the residual volume. What is residual volume? We will discuss later on. Breathing through nose is healthier than through mouth. Why? Because when we breathe through nose, the conditioning of air takes place. Whereas when we breathe through mouth, no conditioning takes place. Because air is filtered in the nose. Mammals have negative pressure breathing as it allows them to eat and breathe at the same time. This is very important. Mammals have negative pressure breathing and it allows them to eat and breathe at the same time. In human females, thoracic breathing is more prominent. Respiratory center which controls the respiration is medulla oblongata. Now we will discuss some respiratory volumes and capacities. First is tidal volume. Tidal volume is calculated for quiet breathing when we are not doing any work. So tidal volume, that is TV, volume of air inspired or expired during a normal respiration. It is 500 ml, that is a healthy man can inspire or expire in one breath, which is approximately equal to 6000 to 8000 ml of air per minute. So tidal volume is volume of air inspired or expired during a normal respiration. It is approximately 500 ml or 6000 to 8000 ml of air per minute. Inspiratory reserve volume. Additional volume of air a person can inspire by a forcible inspiration. Additional volume of air a person can inspire by a forcible inspiration. It is about 2500 to 3000 ml. Expiratory reserve volume, ERV. Additional volume of air a person can expire by a forcible expiration. It is about 1000 to 1100 ml. 1000 to 1100 ml. Residual volume. The volume of air remaining in the lungs even after a forcible expiration, because lungs are never empty of air. There is always some amount of air present in the alveoli lungs. So residual volume of air remaining in the lungs even after a forcible expiration is known as residual volume. It is about approximately 1100 to 1200 ml. Combination of two or more pulmonary volumes. When we combine two or more pulmonary volume, we get the capacities. So combination of two or more pulmonary volume are called pulmonary capacities. First is inspiratory capacity. Total volume of air a person can inspire after a normal expiration. Total volume of air a person can inspire after a normal expiration. It is equal to TV plus IRV. TV is normal during normal breathing and IRV by forcible inspiration. So it is equal to TV plus IRV. Expiratory capacity. Total volume of air a person can expire after a normal inspiration. Total volume of air a person can expire after a normal inspiration. It is equal to TV plus ERV. Functional residual capacity. It is FRC. Sorry children, it is written V. It is FRC. Functional residual capacity. Volume of air that will remain in the lungs after a normal expiration. It is equal to expiratory reserve volume plus residual volume. Vital capacity. The maximum volume of air a person can breathe in after a forced expiration, or the maximum value of air a person can breathe out after a forced inspiration, is known as vital capacity. It is very important, and vital capacity can be calculated by expiratory reserve volume, tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume. Vital capacity is more in man than woman. It is higher in athletes than a normal person, higher in children than old person, higher in mountain dwellers as compared to plain dwellers. Total lung capacity. Total volume of air accommodated in the lungs at the end of forced inspiration. Total volume of air accommodated in the lungs at the end of forced inspiration, TLC. It is equal to RV plus ERV plus TV plus IRV, or it is equal to vital capacity plus residual volume. Thank you, children.